Good morning and welcome, dear friends. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. My name is Mark and I'm serving as your worship associate today. We ask anyone speaking today to enunciate distinctly using facial expressions and intonation and body language. You can dance to benefit those with a hearing impairment. We want to acknowledge that here at the church, we are standing on the lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole peoples. We offer a warm welcome to the guests that are with us today. We would like to get to know you better and hope that you will join us following the service for our coffee hour and refreshments. Our mission states we are a liberal faith community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. Our guest today is Marlowe Jones, who will lead our service titled Juneteenth, Freedom Delayed, Justice Demanded. Marlowe Jones is a dedicated civil rights activist, entrepreneur, and community organizer. He serves as the executive director of Florida's Young Leaders, a nonprofit committed to empowering the next generation through civic engagement, education, and environmental justice. A proud graduate of St. Peter's College, Marlowe combines education, lived experience, and a vision to drive change across Florida. Born and raised in Pasco County with deep family roots in Tarpon Springs dating back over 100 years, Marlowe's work centers on uplifting Black communities, protecting democracy, and fostering unity across generations. As Vice President of the African American Club of Pasco County and a lead organizer with Faith in Florida, he is passionate about honoring the legacy of Juneteenth by continuing the fight for freedom, equity, and opportunity. Our music today is provided by our wonderful music director, Bonnie Whitehurst, who we welcome back. Again, a warm welcome to our Sunday service.
Our first hymn is number 151, I Wish I Knew How. Number 151 in your gray hymnal.
All these chains holding
Juneteenth is a day to commemorate the end of slavery in the United States and to reflect on the ongoing struggle for justice and equality. It is a time to celebrate the freedom of African Americans and to recommit to UU values of justice, equity, and compassion. We, along with many UU congregations, recognize Juneteenth with special services, community events, and educational programs. We are grateful to have Marlowe Jones with us to help us mark this historical significance of Juneteenth, to celebrate and recognize the ongoing fight for racial justice. As we consider our history, our future, and the parts we play, I'd like to share words from Paulo Freire in his book, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. While both humanization and dehumanization are real alternatives, only the first is the people's vocation. This vocation is constantly negated, yet it is affirmed by that very negation. It is thwarted by injustice, exploitation, oppression, and the violence of the oppressors. It is affirmed by the yearning of the oppressed for freedom and justice, and by their struggle to recover their lost humanity. Dehumanization, which marks not only those whose humanity has been stolen, but also, though in a different way, those who have stolen it. It is a distortion of the vocation of becoming more fully human. Let's make it our vocation this morning to learn more about what it means to become more fully human. I did it. Okay. We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also, to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith. We will now read together our congregation's covenant. We strive to look for and encourage the best in each other as we move toward justice, peace, and love for both ourselves and the world. And when we fall short, we will seek understanding, reconciliation, and a return to covenant. Let us sing together the Spirit of Life, number 123 in the Great Book. Sit or stand as you prefer. Apparently, we're going to see a video A YouTube video? Okay, thank you. And I think,
We have to get it.
okay.
Hi, I am Natasha Triplett, and I am so excited to share my new book, Juneteenth Is. It was illustrated by Daniel J. O'Brien, and I just hope you and your family have a great
Take a deep breath. This is the normal for whatever happens every Sunday. You never know. It's not coming into the picture. Yeah, it's not coming into the How many texts today?
Hi, I am Natasha Triplett, and I am so excited to share my new book, Juneteenth Is. It was illustrated by Daniel J. O'Brien, and I just hope you and your family have a great time celebrating Juneteenth. I hope you just spend lots of time eating and hanging out and just getting involved with your community in any way that makes sense for you. On Juneteenth, I awake to the smoky smell of Daddy's slow cooking brisket. Facing the rising sun, peeking over the hills, Jubilee has begun. I skip ahead to the music as Daddy carries the chairs. Juneteenth is the perfect sidewalk spot. A parade of steppers, dancers, singers, drummers all march. Colorful candies rain on the crowd. Horns belt out a freedom song. A queen in braids winks as she pop walks her way past. Mama calls her a hope for tomorrow. Black, red, and green flags welcome us to the cool breeze of Granddaddy's front porch. Hugs and fist bumps, girl, you getting tall. Forehead kisses and hugs again. Warmth floods my soul. Juneteenth is being thankful to be together. Juneteenth is the house getting louder as more cousins, aunties, and uncles, neighbors, and play cousins arrive. Stevie gives us something to say from the boombox as the snare beat brings us back in tune. Juneteenth is the ladies singing in the kitchen. Juneteenth is my favorite uncle's joke. Sitting on the curb, watching the game, watermelon so sweet, you close your eyes to chew. Granny calls us in to eat. Go wash your hands, we about to pray. Juneteenth is prayer. Juneteenth is generations of family recipes. Secret rub on finger-licking chicken, juicy mouth-on-fire hot links, mac and cheese, collard greens, potato salad, smoky brisket, barbecue baked beans, honey cornbread, and stories from the past. Red in the sauce, red in the soda, red in the watermelon, red velvet cake, red in the suffering. Juneteenth is the history lesson not taught at school. Granddaddy's deep voice reminds us why we're here. It's not the slam of the dominoes or the slam dunk of the mac and cheese. Show was good though. It's about the door of opportunity no longer slamming in our faces. Juneteenth is remembering lives long before our memories. Sweat on our brows, cotton in our fingers, the straw that broke our mighty back. a lump creeps into my throat. The proclamation took 2 years to be proclaimed. June 19, 1865, the American Day of Freedom. General Granger rode into Galveston, Texas, and read the order, "Slaves are free." Juneteenth is freedom, shackled to a Parks, King, and Obama future. Former slaves marched in the first Juneteenth parade. We have been marching ever since. We march in celebration, we march in unity. Proudly, we march on the land of the free in bravery. Juneteenth is all of us. We are America. Thank you so much for supporting Juneteenth Is. I hope you love it as much as I do. You can find this at your local bookstore, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Juneteenth holiday.
Now is the time in the service when we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. You may drop your donations in the plate when it is passed or donate online. Your generosity is greatly appreciated. I'll go ahead and read this too. You may make checks out to UCTS. Checks can be mailed or put in this Sunday's offering. For those present here in the sanctuary, there are labeled envelopes in the pews to donate cash. For those of you joining us from home, you can donate on our church website. Direct your gift to give to the Social Justice Fund.
Then I go hands are knocking me back down on my knees. Ooh, there've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. A change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.
Stand up now. Can y'all hear me sitting or should I stand? Which one? Let me get on the microphone. Good morning, everybody. I don't even need the microphone.
For Zoom. For Zoom.
Oh, for Zoom. Okay. Hello, everybody on Zoom. God bless you all. What a beautiful, beautiful song, Miss Bonnie. That was absolutely remarkably amazing. I always love coming here. Thank you all. It's beautiful to see all of your faces today. This church is so special. This is probably my 4th time here. So if I have not met you before, my name is Marlowe Jones. I am a father. I am an activist. I'm an organizer. I am a child of God. I'm a lover, a friend, and I'm so happy that when I come here, I always feel at peace. I always feel the love and the fellowship in this sanctuary. This is truly a wonderful place, and I want to thank all of you for allowing me to come here today and just speak to you a little bit. It's good to see some familiar friends and faces in the crowd. I am a community organizer. My roots go way back. So my family migrated from Georgia during the Great Migration in 1925. My great-grandmother, Mrs. Arline, moved to West Pasco, and my great-grandmother, Beatrice, they decided they wanted to come to Tarpon Springs. So my father's side of the family has lived in Tarpon Springs for over a century, and my mother's side of the family has lived in West Pasco for over a century. So I am truly a Floridian through and through. When I tell people that, they say, "Are you for real? You've been here your whole life?" I said, "Unfortunately, yes." I've been nowhere else. But there's nothing like home. And for a while, I traveled a little bit. I dabbled in acting. I went to New York City, where I was on a couple plays in Broadway. And then I decided that the New York climate was not for me. I'm a Southerner through and through. I love the warmth. I love New York. It's beautiful architecture, but the snow I just could not handle. I just could not handle it. My family got sick. My great-grandmother got cancer in 2010, and it was her second bout of breast cancer. So I had made a decision to come back to Florida and be with my family, because my great-grandmother was 91, and she was the matriarch of our family. And to be honest, it was a hard time because, you know, when you lose a matriarch, it's just a horrible time for family. And we all had to come together, and, you know, it's been since 2011 on November 4th since Granny went to be with the Lord. But I was very fortunate enough to be raised by my mother, my single mother, and my grandmothers. So I was raised by a strong village of women, and I'm so blessed for that. And without them, I would not be here today. And without a few good mentors who came along the way to make sure I stayed on the right path. History is something that has always been near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love history. I cannot tell you why. I absolutely hate math, but I love history. And I think the reason I love the history so much because right next to my great-grandmother's house in West Pasco County is the historic school. It's called the Booker T. Washington School. And it is where my grandmother and her siblings, they all went to school during the days of segregation. And as a kid, you know, walking into this building and running by it, it just always fascinated me. And then as I got older, I realized the history of it. And it was so close to my grandmother's house, you could throw a rock and hit it. Over the years, 30 years ago, it became a nonprofit, the African American Club of West Pasco, which is a nonprofit that works in the community with the children, giving back. So far, the African American Club has given over $100,000 away in scholarships to kids to go to college. And it is where I learned to read and write as a kid. In this building is where I learned to perfect some of my skills in the arts. And as I got older, I decided it was time for me to give back to the African American Club, and I joined the leadership. And last year, I was elected vice president of the club. And I continue to work hard because it's about the children. It is about the future. It's what we're going to leave behind, which is why I'm so glad today when I came in to hear that this church and everybody in your organization is about peace, and currently reaffirming that they stand on the side of peace. No wars, no bombs, just peace and love. And that is truly amazing. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Juneteenth. That's a new federal holiday. You guys get another day off. Congratulations. I've been hearing jokes about that all day. I got another day off. Who's complaining about that? Yeah. I hear his supporters are not too happy about that. I think they enjoy their extra day off. God bless Greg, everybody. You know, I'll say before I start, when I first came here, I was invited by Greg almost 4 years ago, and I was actually speaking on a social justice summit that they were hosting here. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was leading peaceful protests in the city of Newport Richey because we had seen a lot of wrongs and injustices and a lot of things coming from people in power. So we organized, and for over 160 days, we marched until we made sure our police officers had body cams, until we made sure that elected officials were being held accountable. I was falsely arrested. Yes, falsely arrested, I was. And it fought for 2 years. And then on May 5th of 2022, I heard those wonderful words from a jury of my peers, not guilty. And ever since then, my life changed. So instead of being angry or upset about what they did to me, I decided to take that energy and transform it. Tried to do something good. So instead of being upset with the system, I decided to educate people in how to dismantle a system that is not benefiting the people and going after people that are actually trying to do good. So I came here, I spoke. I met a man named Nick Carey, who's somewhere probably at Balmoral Castle right now. He's on vacation. If you can hear me, Nick, hello. He introduced me to Faith in Florida. Faith in Florida is a nonprofit organization that is leading the charge in our state when it comes to protecting democracy, preserving democracy. Faith in Florida is a wonderful organization that hosts many candidate forums, that hosts educational seminars. We go into the community, we go into the places that people don't want to go, having conversations sometimes that people don't want to have. Meeting people where they are and building bridges, one beloved community at a time. When I started working with Faith in Florida, I learned so much. I was able to travel around the United States, meet all types of people, and learn all types of new things. And then something happened. Our state legislators decided that there was going to be an attack on Black history. Our state legislators decided that they no longer wanted anybody to learn the truth. And I thought to myself, well, why would that be? What is it about Black history that the governor and certain people don't want us to know? So I started doing a little digging, and I started diving deep. And my executive director, Pastor Rhonda Thomas, said, we have to do something. And she said, they gave us a bag of lemons, so I guess we ought to make lemonade. And that's what we did. Faith in Florida created the Black History Toolkit, which is a free educational resources for all ages, young, older, teenagers, anybody that wants to learn about Black history. You can go to this resource and you can learn and take your time. We have stuff for small children. We have stuff for people who have never even learned anything. And we had a goal to teach that, or to ask 500 other congregations to sign up. So far, we have 444 congregations that have signed up that are teaching Black history at their Sunday schools or at other events at their church. And you know what was even better? Not only did we have 444 congregations, we had 32 other states sign up. 32 other states said, we're going to sign up and we're going to make sure that we keep history alive. So that's one thing that I'm proud that we've done with Faith in Florida, is that we're creating tools and resources. Even when they might try to do things with legislation, we have to remember, in the church and in our mothers' homes and in our grandmothers' homes is where we learned this history and where we'll continue to be passed down. We're not going to let anybody turn us around. So I just want to say a couple of things here that I have written. So let's talk about Juneteenth. So a lot of people sometimes get a little confused. They say, what is Juneteenth? What does that mean? What is it? So I like to say, let's talk about it. So we know on June 19th, 1865, General of the Union Army, Gordon Granger, marched his army into Galveston, Texas. And on that day, the slaves in Texas, who were still being held in bondage, were told, you are now free. Now, the Emancipation Proclamation had already been signed 2 years prior. Abraham Lincoln, as you know, the 16th President of the United States, signed the Emancipation Proclamation. But we have to think about what that means. Why did Lincoln sign the Emancipation Proclamation? What was going on? He was fighting a war. And that Emancipation Proclamation didn't necessarily make the slaves free. But what it did was it freed them in the states that rebelled against the Union. So this was an executive order. I'm pretty sure we've all come very familiar with the term executive order, right? We've been hearing that a lot in the everyday executive order. I just want them to write an executive order that cures all homelessness. I would like to see an executive order that makes sure that nobody goes hungry in America. Can we get one of those? Asking for a friend. I'll get back on the topic here. So we know that Abraham Lincoln signed that Emancipation Proclamation. He wanted to break the will of the South. What was the South's main source of money, main source of income to keep this war going? It was cotton. Back then they said cotton was king, and it truly was, because of the profitability and how much money they were making in the South. Now we know that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. He was assassinated in Ford's Theater. And after he was assassinated, probably the worst president became president, his successor, Andrew Johnson. Now we know that after the assassination of President Lincoln, people still wanted to continue on with the way of life. But Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse to General Ulysses S. Grant. So you thought right then and there, once these two generals said we're done fighting, that the war would be over. Well, Texas had something else in mind. They wanted to continue. Now, the people in Texas, the leaders, the people who were running the show, they knew the Emancipation Proclamation had been signed. They knew it. But they just said, no, we're going to keep doing what we want to do because this is Texas and we're going to do what we want to do. So we had to send General Granger down there. And he, with his executive order number 3, posted on that church, on the church building, that the slaves in Texas are free. So what happened was people started to gather around like, wait, what's going on? There's news coming in town. And the news was posted on the courthouse that if you were still in bondage, you are free. Now, many people imagine being in bondage for hundreds of years. you wouldn't even know what freedom is if they told you you were free. So a lot of folks left and a lot of folks stayed. And I have to ask myself, if I was born in that time, what would I have done? And you have to think, some of these people, I hate to refer to them as slaves, some of these people had lives, they had families, they had to take care of their families. So I could see why some of them would have stayed. Some of them were elderly. They probably couldn't make that new journey to Houston or somewhere else to change their lives. So many different things happen. But on that day was a day that they got together and they started to celebrate, because they knew that there would be a new way of life for them. They knew that things would not be the same. It was scary, but they knew that a new day was coming. They knew that a change was going to come. So you hear stories of some people leaving Galveston, heading to Houston, heading to other parts of the United States to make a new life. And there were a lot of successful stories of families making it. I had the opportunity to travel to Alabama and teach Black history to a group of children that were in high school. And we took these children to 4 or 5 museums in Alabama. And I encourage everybody, if you ever are in Alabama, no matter who you are, go stop and see those museums. The Rosa Parks Museum, the Legacy Museum. I really enjoyed the Legacy Museum. But what was interesting was just the real raw history that you can see, that you can touch, that you can feel. And it's eye-opening. And I think we all should have that chance to walk through and see this history. Because as the great poet Dr. Maya Angelou said, I hope I don't mess this quote up, history, despite its wrenching pain, if faced with courage, need not be lived again. So to sum it up, what she was saying is, we know we have some not so good history in the United States of America. But if we can love each other and teach each other and educate each other, that history and that pain need not be lived again. That's why it's so important that we teach people what Juneteenth is. That's why it's so important that we come here and we educate our friends, our families, and our colleagues, and most importantly, our children. That's how we eradicate racism. That's how we eradicate these stigmas and these biases, is we share this information. And what I've learned through my research is the Unitarian Church was allies to the movement. Abolitionists, people who actually wanted to help the slaves get to freedom. So your church has been doing good work for a long time, a long time. Some of the interesting things about Juneteenth, as you know, it was signed into become a federal holiday by former President Joe Biden. As we know, General Order Number 3 was issued June 19th, 1865 by Gordon Granger, and that was declared, the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. The order effectively freed over 250,000 enslaved people in Texas. I'll repeat that number, 250,000 enslaved people, which was the last holdouts where slavery continued despite the Civil War ended almost 2 years prior. General Granger's announcement marked a crucial turning point in the abolition of slavery in the United States. During this time, leading up to the following of Juneteenth, the Unitarian Church, like many other religious groups, played a complex role in context of slavery, in the abolition of slavery. Here are some of the snapshots, and here are just a couple of things that I found were very interesting. Many Unitarians were active, very active in abolishing slavery. They really did not like it. And I think that's awesome. I think it's awesome that the church and the people of the church were standing up to evil, even hundreds of years ago. And we're still facing some of that evil today, and I see that the church is still standing up, fighting that evil. Some of the interesting things that I thought about this holiday is how it's now being celebrated. I attended over 4 celebrations this week alone. I am tired. But every celebration, you know what warmed my heart was to see black people, white people, Chinese people, Korean people, Scottish people. I seen them all come together. I seen them all dancing. I seen them all fellowshipping. I seen them all having a wonderful time. And it was just inspiring to see. And I was speaking to the audience at the Richie Suncoast Theater where we hosted a event. And I said, just imagine 65 years ago, none of us would be allowed to sit in the same room. How far have we come? We still have a long way to go, but look how far we've come. I can speak to you today. I could not do that probably 70 years ago. Maybe in this church I could though, because you guys have been cool for a long time. But just to think about the times that are changing, just to think about what this means, what it means to celebrate Juneteenth, what it means to be free. Me being a historian, I'm also an archivist, and lately I find myself like Dr. Henry Louis Gates. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Finding Your Roots on PBS. I'm on a journey right now, and right now I'm stuck in 1890, when my grandmother's father was born. So I'm trying to do the research on my family tree, and I'm trying to find out exactly what plantation in Georgia my ancestors came from. And I'm very close. But the reason I want to know is because I want to know the history. I want to know. I want to be like my friend Anthony, where I can say, Anthony, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Virginia. My family came from Germany or England. And he can trace his ancestry all the way back to Robert the Bruce. But with me, I can't do that. I have to go through census, and I have to go through property deeds, and I have to do all these hoops and jumps. I'm trying to reach out to the guy from PBS to see if he can help me speed it up a little bit. But it's important to know your history, and I want to know because, you know, I have my daughters and my son, and I just want to continue to teach them about their history. And as I always try to remind folks, you know, slavery is just interrupted African American history. Before slavery, before they came to the continent of Africa and decided we're going to take these people here because we're going to be building plantations, there was families, there was communities, there was fellowship, there was love in these places, and it was all shattered when they were taken away. But one of the beautiful things I think about is going through all of that and now thinking about present day. As I tell my siblings and people, we are here today because somebody on that ship survived. I'm here today because somebody survived on a ship that took them from their home. I'm here today because my great-grandmother decided that her family did not want to stay in Georgia anymore and pick cotton. They decided that there was something in Florida that everybody was talking about. You might not see it anymore because developers had destroyed them. But back in the day, Florida was big in the citrus industry. And a lot was being done in Tarpon Springs and in Newport Richey, to where my ancestors decided they wanted a better life. So they came here. And 120 years later, we're still here. But I do want to say in closing, the importance of Juneteenth is keeping history alive, is keeping it alive for the right reasons, and telling it, it's okay to be woke. You hear me, y'all? It's okay. It's okay to be woke. It is okay to want to know the truth. It's okay. I understand that might hurt some politicians. They have different narratives. But we, the people, are the ones who decide what we want to learn and what we don't want to learn. We, the people. So I just want to say to you all so much, thank you for your love, for your compassion, for your empathy. Thank you for wanting to learn a little bit about Juneteenth. I promise you I will not bore you, but I'm glad that you all wanted to learn a little bit about what happened June 19th, 1865. Because a lot of people think that was just the day that slavery ended. Like, that's it. But no, it wasn't actually until December of 1865 that the 13th Amendment was actually ratified. That is actually when slavery was abolished in the United States. That is the real truth of the matter. So a lot of folks think that day, June 19th, was the day. No, unfortunately not. But a lot of things, as I would say, and it's sad, just to think that June 19th, 1865, 250,000 people learned that they can be people. They're no longer commodities. They're no longer livestock. They can actually try to have their own life. I think about how scary it must have been to get that freedom and then not know what's next. After June 19th, 1865, and after the ratification of the 13th Amendment of the United States, giving African Americans citizenship and all of that, something else happened. The black codes were enacted. Jim Crow was enacted. The Ku Klux Klan came about. Why? Because they wanted to discourage African Americans from voting, from taking parts in processes that would give them equal citizenship. An evil really did come after. You would think after the emancipation was signed, and you would think after the Constitution was ratified, you would think we would have some peace. But some people didn't want peace. And what they did was a lot of horrible things. And it wasn't until another 100 years later, by a man of, I believe his name was John Fitzgerald Kennedy, he sent civil rights legislations to the United States Congress. And I was not alive then, but I am a historian. I've seen the speech many times where he actually gave a televised address saying how we're all Americans. No matter if we're black, white, gay, or straight, we are all Americans, and we should be treated as such. Now, we know Mr. Kennedy did not get to foresee that civil rights bill being signed into law, but we know his predecessor, Lyndon Johnson, was able to pass the sweeping legislation that was being stalled in the Congress. And we know it was 100 years almost to that day of the Emancipation Proclamation and till June 19th that the civil rights laws were enacted. So just think about that. Lincoln signs the Emancipation. Lincoln is assassinated. New president comes in to power, and he decides, I'm not going to prosecute anyone who rebelled. That was the biggest mistake. Because what those Southerners did, and the people who fought for the Confederacy, what they did was they went back home to Tarpon Springs. They went back home to Newport Richey. They went back home to Louisiana, Mississippi, and they enacted black codes. So that was a failure on the administration. And this is the history that you really will never know in school, and they will probably never teach you. I learned this when I got to college. They didn't talk about Juneteenth when I was growing up in high school or when I was growing up in elementary school, which is very sad, but I'm glad today things have changed. I'm glad today that we have an open mind. I'm glad today that even with bullies at Pennsylvania Avenue, we're still going to continue to spread love and peace. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Our hymn is number 149 in the Gray Book. Lift every voice and sing. Number 149.
Harmonies
We hope you have found meaning in today's service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of peace and love for ourselves and others. May we carry kindness and compassion in our hearts and out into the world. Each week we set aside time to honor the joys and sorrows of our personal lives with our community.